hear about in these coming hours?
I think the constituency inside the bomb is going to make a big difference about how we identify the person who did this or the persons who did this. Because if it's hydrogen peroxide, that points to Al-Qaeda. If it's something else,
Could be a different
could be a right-wing extremist group or some other group.
I now turn over to Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room for the latest on this tragic event. Wolf.
Thanks very much. We're following the breaking news, important breaking news out of Boston. A pair of bombings rocked the finish line at the historic Boston Marathon. Just a couple hours or so ago, at least 2 people are dead in the explosions. At least 28 are being treated for injuries, a number of them critical injuries. And we've just learned of yet a third bombing, this one at Boston's JFK Library. That's some distance away. The bomb blast came only seconds apart, 4 hours into the race as the steady stream of runners approached the finish line. You can see one explosion ripping through the crowd at the finish line, sending up a thick cloud of smoke. Then, if you look closely, you can see a simultaneous explosion send up smoke about a block away. Boston's police commissioner says a third explosion has taken place at the JFK Library, this within the past hour. We don't know the extent of that explosion. We don't know the extent of injuries at the JFK Library. A state government official says there were no credible threats before the race, at least none known yet. Security has been stepped up in Boston and several other major cities, including New York City and Washington. All of this out of an abundance of caution. We're deploying all of CNN's resources to bring you full team coverage of what's going on. A very important development on this day in Boston. CNN executive producer Matt Frucci was on the scene at the time of the explosions. He was watching his brother participate in this marathon. And tell our viewers, Matt, what you saw, what you heard.
Sure. It was right near the finish line, maybe a mile, even less to it. As I said before, the lines, the crowds were packed. There were thousands on either side, hundreds then running down the middle, all the runners heading towards the finish line. And that's when I heard a big explosion about 100 yards away from me. Looked to my right and saw about 100 yards up a big plume of white-gray smoke. It was going up about 2 or 3 stories high. People were shocked. We didn't quite know what to do at that point. And about 10 seconds later, right across the street from me, about 20 yards away, another explosion. It didn't seem as big as the last one, but it was still pretty big and booming. And that's when everyone started to panic and scramble away. I was sort of.
And you heard people screaming. Is that accurate, Matt?
The people were screaming and people were fleeing. It was definitely panic. People just wanted to get away from that. Some of us got pushed into the building behind us, and others just started to go off onto side streets. I think I was able to collect my parents finally and work our way through a building into the back, and then we were able to view from one of the windows, sort of a corridor that overlooked Boylston Street. We were able to see paramedics or police just sort of helping people. And when I saw that first explosion, the second explosion, I saw about 6 to 7 people probably piled around that general area. And then afterwards, I saw people in the street being treated separately by paramedics.
We are now being told that at least 2 people dead, according to local authorities, 46 people injured, according to hospital authorities in the Boston area. 46 people injured, some of them critically injured, according to these authorities at local hospitals in Boston. What's it like now, Matt? You're still not far away.
No, now it's sort of a matter of people just trying to find their loved ones. I had my other brother and his family, his 3 kids were on the other side of the street. It took us a while to be able to connect with them over the phone. We finally were able to about 45 minutes, hour afterwards. They were close to that first explosion when my brother heard it. One of the young kids, probably only about, he's 5, asked what was that. My brother said it was a bomb. They turned around and started getting out of the way.